In our couples devotional today, we are going to look at the idea of being loyal. What does it mean to be loyal? So I want to define that first. Loyalty means to be unswerving in allegiance. So I think a lot of you might be thinking, well, that's interesting. I've never thought about loyalty in terms of my marriage. I mean, I'm loyal to my sports teams that I've grown up cheering for all these years. I'm loyal maybe to my alma mater where I've gone to school. All of us have pledged the allegiance to our country on a daily basis, at least in elementary school. So you might be saying, how does that really play out in marriage? But wouldn't you think that if the definition is unswerving allegiance to something, shouldn't we be then loyal more than anything to our spouse? So I thought it might be more compelling for us to, as we unpack this a little bit today, to look at it more from the opposite side, what it means to not be loyal, to be disloyal. Let's look at that for a few minutes. That might help us paint the picture, and then we'll come back to how we need to see loyalty as something that should be prevalent and a part of a healthy marriage. So to be disloyal means you question your commitment to your marriage. You might say things like, maybe we should get a divorce when you've had a big argument or a fight. Or maybe you've said, I hate being married to you, or I'm miserable in this marriage. Those would all be things that you're not being loyal, you're being disloyal to your commitment in marriage. You might, if you're disloyal, it means you speak negatively about your spouse to other people. You might say, wife of your husband, he's such a jerk. You don't know him the way I know him. Husband, you might be saying, well, she's a nag, or I swear she's crazy. Things that we say to our friends or family or coworkers that we're saying negative things about our spouse to someone else. That's not being loyal. To be disloyal also means that you check out of shared activities. Some sentiments that might go with that are, he can do what he wants and I'm going to do what I want. Or husband, you might say, I could care less about the things she's interested in and I'm not going to be caught dead doing any of them. So those would be examples of being disloyal then to just your shared mission as a couple or as a family, that you just kind of check out from all of that and become more of a separate, independent entity. Now, loyalty is important to a marriage, and hopefully you're seeing that as we kind of went to disloyalty first to see how important it is to want to be loyal to your spouse and to your marriage and to your commitment. Now, we don't see loyalty as a fruit of the Spirit, but we do see that loyalty is very synonymous with two that are a part of the fruits of the Spirit, which are faith and love. And I just want to point out to you from a few scripture verses that I'm going to use today. From Proverbs chapter 3, it says, let love and faithfulness never leave you. It goes on to say, bind them around your neck and write them on the tablet of your heart. We see in Romans chapter 12, love must be sincere. And in 10, it says, be devoted to one another. This idea of being faithful, being loving, that's all part of being loyal to your spouse. 1 Corinthians 13, the famous love chapter, says it always protects. Love always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. So hopefully what we're beginning to see here is that even though loyalty may not be a word that we often ascribe to marriage or even a biblical concept of love in marriage, but we see that it is very much a part of love and faithfulness and devotion to our spouse. So here's my challenge to you today. Maybe loyalty isn't something that you've ever thought much about, but here's what I want to challenge you. Be loyal. And so here's the three main things I want you to be loyal to and think about. First of all, be loyal to your vows. Speak life into your marriage, especially in times of conflict and struggle and trial. Don't say things like, maybe we should get a divorce, maybe we should separate, or you're miserable, I'm miserable, maybe we shouldn't be in this anymore. Speak life. Say, I'm committed to you, I love you, we got to figure this out. Be loyal to your spouse. Build him or her up. Don't be in the business of making fun of, putting down, and especially don't do that in front of other people. That's not being loyal. That's not having an unswerving allegiance to your spouse if you're trash talking them behind their back. And then lastly, be loyal to your family mission. When we get married, we come together and we think we're going to have this great life, and we've got all these things that we want to accomplish, and we want to have kids, and we want to mean something. We want to have a purpose in what we do. Get back to that. Get back to talking about what do we want as our family mission. Work together toward those shared goals. So take a few minutes and answer these questions, because I bet for all of us, we could all be challenged by adding the idea that loyalty is an important part of a healthy marriage, and these questions will help get you started in that conversation.